This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Go to BetUS and enter the code YouTube150 for 150% match on your first deposit and 125% on your next two. Just remember to please gamble responsibly.
This is Walter Jones, Pro Football Hall of Famer, top 100.
Tyler Lockett from the Seattle Seahawks.
DK Metcalf.
Dave Burleson. You're watching NorbCam.
NorbCam.
You're watching NorbCam.
What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you after the brutal overtime loss to the Los Angeles Rams in overtime, 26-20. We entered this game 4-4, reeling from the Buffalo Bills loss and thinking, okay, we're playing the Rams. I personally predicted that we were going to win this game by a score of 26-24. I felt optimistic that things were going to go well. Even did my music video prediction about it. And, well, as we all saw, it wasn't exactly what the result we wanted. Now, it's a weird game because this game really was like a microcosm of the entire season because it had some really bad lows and some really great highs on both sides, all three phases of the game. And it's kind of like how the team has been. The team has been great one game and horrible the next and great, which is why we're sitting here at 4-5 at 500. But yesterday was one of the weirdest and most frustrating games to watch, man. It's just the first half, I thought the defense played great through most of the game, right? Shutting down the run, keeping the Rams at bay. They kept them to 3 points in the first half. I mean, you can't ask for much more from your defense, especially with that offense and both their weapons in. We got an interception. So I thought for the most part they played pretty good. Definitely an improvement. I'll get to the issues in a second. But on the negative side, the Seahawks, gosh, the first quarter and 7/8 was just horrible. I mean, how many snaps over the head can we have? I mean, this is like the most basic thing that should happen between a center and a quarterback. And it's happened like 3 times now in 2 games. And resulting in second down and 30 and third and 30. I mean, I'm going, what is this? Why are we having, this is week number 9 and we're having these snap issues, continuing to this game and one last week. I thought there's my mistakes. I said, I can't get any worse than last week. Well, that part just got worse. So we looked horrible offensively for the first, most of the first half. And then we have this offensive explosion in the 2-minute drill where we get a touchdown with some amazing throws. Gino getting clever with the snap count because he got the defensive line for the Rams jumping like 4 or 5 offsides. And a couple of them resulting in free plays. And that was great. The first touchdown. Then we get the interception by Rick Woolen, which results in the ejection by Puka Nacua because he threw a punch or something. He's out the rest of the game. And then we go back, get the ball, and then we score again. And so we're looking great, right? And so the offense finishes strong in the first half. The defense is playing great. But then our special teams can't make a freaking extra point. So instead of being up 14-3, we're up 13-3. And I remember thinking, oh man, I hope that doesn't bite us later because usually, a team like this, that could be. And it turns out to be the case when you go to overtime. That 1 point was a huge deal. So that was a negative. Then the third quarter, the defense lets the Rams get right down the field, score. Offense doesn't answer. They score again. The field goal tie the game up. We get the ball, but then we have a really nice drive. We get to the 6-yard line, and I don't know what it is about the south end of the stadium, the right side of your screen. But, man, that has been just like our Achilles heel. It has been like a nightmare on our when we have the ball trying to get into the south end zone this year. It has just been, at least recently, a disaster area. Whether it's a blocked field goal, not getting the ball, not getting in the end zone against the Bills, and in this case, not getting in there against the Rams on those 2 possessions that resulted in interceptions. One where Gino said he got his arm hit, pick 6 to the end. On first down, by the way. And then the second one, after we get this amazing we got an amazing stand by the defense, a blocked punt, setting the offense up with a gift of we're right here. Now you can punch it in. And he gets another interception. The tight end is held. They didn't call it, but nonetheless, it's an interception again. Then you think, oh, we're done. That's it. And then we get another stop. And then within the 2-minute drill, Gino leads them down the field with some amazing plays by JSN, by Cody White off the practice squad, just balling like crazy. And then we do get the touchdown to send it overtime. And you're thinking, okay, well, we can just wipe clean all those things that have happened that have been bad. New game. Let's just execute from here. We get the ball in overtime with the winning of the toss. And then we go down the field. It's looking awesome. It's amazing. We get down to like the 20-yard line. And then it's 3rd and inches. And you're going, okay, we get this first down. We're going to win this game. It's going to be ours. We don't get it. It's 4th down. I'm thinking, oh, man, we should. The conservative part of me, which hates the trend now, everybody going for it on 4th down, they decide to go for it. I'm thinking, oh, man, okay, all right. I kind of like the aggressiveness. I'd rather take the points, but I'm thinking, just don't line up in that bunched up, tight formation where everybody knows it's going up the middle, because we suck at that. We suck at short yardage. We've not been able to get short yardage effectively. Stuffed so many times, and sure enough, we get stuffed. The offensive line can't hold the onslaught, but yet even then, the defense has a chance to get the ball back. And our last gift that was given to us that we didn't take, the should have been intercepted ball that Reek Woolen was thrown right to him. And if he just does a JSN, what I know, the one thing that's great about him is he comes back. He'll come back and attack the football. He'll be downfield like 2-3 yards, and he'll come back to the ball like 3-4 yards to attack it with his hands and loses yardage, but then he's able to turn it back on field. If Woolen just does a little bit of that mojo, he just attacks the football, he takes that thing, it's an interception at about the 30-something yard line. He runs it probably another 15, 20 yards, if not a pick six, and we win the game with a field goal or a touchdown and game over. But instead, he lets it come to him. They get the football, pass interference, and another play later, a touchdown, walk-off Rams. So it's been kind of our season, right? Every time we have an opportunity, we have not been able to take advantage of it. So that's what's so frustrating about this game. Now, that puts us back to where we are here, right? There's a lot of people after this game saying, oh, we need to just tank the season, tank for draft picks. Let's, bench Geno. Let's, as if the season's over. It feels like it because we lost so many bad games, but look, in this division, in the NFC West, in an oddly strange year, how tight it is, and how injury-riddled, and how every team has started off pretty badly, except for us. Started off 3-0, and then it's been bad since, with the exception of one game. Because of the slow start by everybody, we're all bunched up. The difference between first and last place is only one game. So if this is the NFC North and we're sitting there at 4-5, maybe the trade approach philosophy is different. But with us being only a game out, and we've only played 2 division games. We played and lost to the 49ers and now won to the Rams. We still haven't played the Cardinals yet, and we still got to play the other 2 teams another time. It's very soon, the 49ers after the bye. So here's the good news with the bye coming up this coming week. We should get DK back. We should get, hopefully, they're saying that they're optimistic that Abe Lucas, our right tackle, starting right tackle, the one we drafted a few years ago, who's supposed to be the long-term answer, will be back to start against the 49ers. It can't be, I shouldn't say these words, because every time I say this, I jinx the team and they do worse. It's got to be better than what we have now, because Michael Jarrell, while he played well in his first start, he and Bradford were getting eaten alive yesterday, and it was not good, and it has not been good, and the offensive line as a whole has not been good, right? Charles Cross has been okay. He's not great. He's been okay, but he gets pushed back often. But he's the best of the 5. Left guard Tomlinson, penalized often gets beat. The center, snapping the ball over the head, oftentimes beat. Bradford, terrible. Right side, just as terrible. I mean, the whole offensive line is just a mess. Regardless of what you think of Geno, yeah, he had a bad game, and the picks were unacceptable. But Geno's still our best chance moving forward. I know a lot of people say, oh, let's play Sam Howell. That's just because when you're unhappy with how the quarterback's playing, you always think the backup quarterback's the best option. He's not. Geno Smith made some elite level throws. And again, people they only remember the bad, they don't remember the good. So he made some throws. He got us out of, was it 2nd or 3rd and 31? Or whatever it was, late to get that drive that I think set us into overtime. Man, he did some amazing stuff to save us at least getting in that game. Doesn't erase the mistakes, but he's still got some elite stuff. He's just got to be better. But getting sacked 7 times, maybe it's a combination of holding on to the ball, but it is sometimes where there's just guys who are just breaking through, no resistance. The trenches, man, we gotta improve the trenches. And it was exciting to feel like, okay, the defense was better. not perfect, but it was much better than they had been the last few games. So that gives me hope that the defense is slowly coming together to what we expect them to be. They're not there yet, but you got to remember, and people are so impatient, they want results now. They want Geno to be Super Bowl perfect now. They want Coach McDonald his team to be like the Ravens defense right now. But remember when Pete Carroll came to the Seahawks in 2010, his first 2 seasons, he went 7-9. We made the playoffs because we had a bad NFC West that year, and hosted the wild card game to the, at the time, reigning Super Bowl champs, the Saints, at 7-9, which is crazy. But it took him a while, right? It wasn't until his 3rd year that he had a winning season. They'd make the playoffs in the 2nd year. So McDonald, granted, he doesn't have as much to turn over. A lot of the pieces are already in place, but it does take a while for the system to kind of get locked in. And we're officially now past the halfway point of the season. I think we got to give these things time. It's new coordinators, right? This is a whole new scheme with Ryan Grubb. Everything is new. So I feel like it's hard to be patient. It's hard to be told to be patient, but I feel like you're starting to see things coming together slowly. The defense is showing signs like, okay, this is kind of what it's supposed to be like. Offensively, you see these great plays, and if you take away these really bad negative ones, we're winning that game. So we're just like one guy hitting Geno's arm away. We're one block away from Kenneth Walker getting the first down and setting up the game-winning touchdown in overtime. So it's little things like that. But again, I feel like it's more on the offensive side that is plaguing the team, especially with the way the defense played yesterday. So they can keep going in the way they're going, and the way they started yesterday. They're going to keep moving in the right direction. So the offense, it's like these, again, the snaps over the head, little fundamental things. But in general, though, the offensive line, if that play is elevated by 10, 15% of what it is right now, offense is going to be multitudes better than what it is right now, because it is bad when it comes to the crucial mistakes, but they have some elite moments where Geno makes a throw that is like, whoa, how the hell did he throw that ball? Or how did, those plays to JSN for that overtime sending touchdown was amazing. And so I feel like we do have the personnel there. The weapons are there. Quarterback can do it. It's not like you don't see any potential. It's just he's got to minimize the mistakes. And I think those mistakes will also be minimized if we have a better offensive line. Imagine we didn't have DK the last 2 games, right? To get our starting right tackle. That would be huge. It was supposed to be Cross and Lucas on the edges of that offensive line, holding it down, and eventually the middle part to do their part as well. Will Lucas be anything close to what he's supposed to be, not having played in almost a year? We'll see, but I'd like to think that it's going to be better than our 4th string right tackle, whose guys are running right by. Geno and Connor Williams need to set some hours aside and just snap the ball like 100 times a day. Just keep working on that and figure out what the heck is going on, because that should not be happening. I mean, these guys are not rookies. Geno's been playing for a decade. Connor Williams is no spring chicken either. He's been doing this for a while. So why all of a sudden are the snaps? How does that suddenly become a problem? It's like we invented this problem. We created a problem that was never a problem. It just suddenly is happening, and it's causing major issues. We should have won this game. If those things don't happen, we easily win this game. We had the ball at the, We had the ball at the 40-yard line and great field position after a defensive stop, and should be getting to field goal range in just a couple of plays. And the snap moves over the head, and next thing you know, we're in our own 20-yard line. It's crazy. I mean, this should never happen, right? And it's twice in a game, twice in 2 weeks. And there's that saying, you got the X's and O's and the Jimmies and the Joes. I think the Ryan Grubb scheme with the X's and O's is good. We don't have the Jimmies and the Joes. We don't have the players on the line of scrimmage to protect, to run the offense he wants to run. So he's going to have to continue to adapt that until the line play can be better. He's running this all-world collegiate scheme that had the best offensive line last year and putting it on a team that's got the worst offensive line practically. So they don't all work out so well when it goes like that. So the scheme's got to be adjusted. You can't just take it and say, okay, you guys are going to do this and Suddenly you're used to having 5 seconds to throw. You only have 2.2. You can't run those long routes and have guys, just with their backs turned and, like running for his life. John Schneider says, admittedly, said publicly that he doesn't believe in spending a lot of money, on the offensive line. And that kind of shows, right? It's, not pretty. It's not been good for a long time. It's just really particularly bad this year. But, even Russ was running for his life half the time, and that's how he was able to make these spectacular plays, because he could elude those things. There were marked improvements. We did run the football better. We did get over 100 yards of running with 33 attempts. I mean, that's definitely better. We outgained them yardage-wise in time of possession. And if not for the turnovers, we win that game. And even if we had the turnovers, if we get a first down at 3rd inches in overtime, we probably win that game too. So, because there's so many ways that not getting that first down was such a killer, because if we get it, even if we don't score the touchdown, we drain more clock and we kick the field goal with like only a couple minutes left. And then Los Angeles has to try to get down the field quickly and with no time left. So the threat of a touchdown is much less likely. And the worst we're looking at is a tie. But we certainly don't give the ball back with all this momentum. And that's a shame that we couldn't pick up 3rd inches. Everyone is so impatient. They want results now. I want it now. So used to this instant gratification world, and some things take time. But we're a spoiled fan base. We've had it good for a while, and now we're not used to losing, and so it feels like, what's wrong? I want this fixed. I don't like this feeling. But that is such a bummer, though, to have had such a great game and so many opportunities. If one thing goes our way, we win that game. We don't get many games like that. DK say what you want about his attitude and this and that. He's not a perfect player by any means, but what he does to the offense, just the threat of him being out there, changes the coverage. They have to allocate extra men to double or shade over the front and the back end with him, which opens up things for our other receivers. So DK is going to be, regardless of who's the quarterback, whether it's Geno next year or somebody else, DK is a weapon. You got to keep him. So he's not going anywhere. It's such a bummer losing this game, because it's a divisional one. It's our chance that, when you have it, you got to try to get it. And I had us splitting games with the Rams this year. So I had predicted pretty much the record to be what it was before Sunday. And I had us winning that game, which would have made us 5-4, exactly what I predicted. So now they've messed my whole prediction flow up. Now we're 4-5, and everything I thought was going to happen, now we're going to have to reverse that. We're going to have to beat LA and LA for me to, even things out. But I'm not super optimistic about the 49ers. I hope they don't have, if they get Christian McCaffrey back for the game on the 17th, it's going to be even worse. It's going to be tough to beat the 49ers at home, that's for sure. They're still, as a whole, their trenches are better than ours. Again, even when the 49ers whopped us pretty good last time, we had a chance. We had a drive that could have put us back on top, and again, the interception killed us. And DK admitted that was his fault. It wasn't Geno's fault, but nonetheless, it was a turnover. So whoever you blame for that, it's a turnover that's happening at the worst possible time. There's never a great time for a turnover, but for us, it seems to be happening every time there's that chance to, here's a chance to take the lead. Interception, goes the other way, and basically is 14-point swing. So we've had that happen multiple times. And the Bills game, same thing. I think if in the Bills game we score in the red zone those 2 times, like a good team should, then we're up 14-7 or whatever the score is that would have been going into half, and it's a totally different ballgame. But the offensive line, if you take all the deficiencies, like if this is a winning team that's like a perfect 10, this is like everybody's playing up to the perfect level of Super Bowl caliber, and this is the worst. So if you take everything and go, okay, here's defense, here's quarterback, here's receivers, offensive line is definitely going to be the bottom of that graph. That is the worst group of our entire team, and it is the key to everything on your offense succeeding. The run game follows how well the blocking goes. The pass game can only be as powerful as the offensive line allows it to be. Because if Geno has to get rid of the ball quickly, which is one alternative, that means he's throwing either quick slants or bubble screens, but he's not throwing the ball downfield, because for you to throw a 20-plus yard ball down the field, you need to have at least 2.5 to 3 seconds, because it takes that long for those guys to get down the field. Because I mean, just do the math, right? I mean, if you run a 4.5 to get 20 yards down the field, it's going to take 2.25 seconds. So Geno needs to be able to have 2.5 seconds to, get the ball out of his hands and throw it, that distance. 2.5 is, I think, the league average. But right now we don't have that kind of time. Or else you got to create it by being more clever with the play action. And, the screen game was we actually got some pretty good screen plays that worked. We got picked against the Bills, but this time it was much more effective. And it's one of the best plays when you've got an aggressive front four and good coverage downfield. The screen is great. And we have not been a good screen team in a long time. So the fact that we are starting to get our screen game going, that's a really good weapon to have. If you can get really good at running screens, halfback screens with regularity, then you can really start to have a really balanced offense. And it takes time, and it's a balance between the quarterback, the offensive line, and the running back. It's like you got to all sell it and make it work right. I feel like the defense is moving in the right direction. We have the weapons. We have a quarterback who can deliver the ball to those weapons. And I feel like if the offensive line, and we have the running backs, and if we have the offensive line to perform just a little bit better, this team can be better than it's been in the first half. And that might be good enough to sneak in. But the way that the NFC is looking, the only way you're going to get in the playoffs is you got to win the division. But a lot of time left, a lot of division games left. The losses we've had are all winnable. We could have beaten Detroit. We could have beaten the Giants. We could have even beaten the 49ers if we'd made the moves at the right time. And even the Bills, I feel like if we had executed earlier, the outcome of that game could have been changed. So as bad as things are, I'm inspired by the fact that there are things that are moving in the right direction. And it's just trying to minimize those horrible, bad mistakes that are fixable. But the offensive line, that's like a constant negative. The snaps and the Geno turnovers, those are little things happening at the worst time. I feel like those can be cleaned up. Those are like decision things and execution things. But the offensive line, if you're simply being manhandled play after play after play after play, it's not going to get any better. The snaps will get better. I think that's going to get worked on. Geno making better decisions. He's just got to be smart in those situations. But the offensive line clearly is just deficient. Otherwise, it's going to be more of what we've been watching for the last 9 games. But until next time, thanks for watching again, and we'll see. There's a lot of games left, and anything can happen. We'll find out. All right, we'll see y'all later, and go Hawks.
This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.